The budget was approved following a unanimous voice vote by all the lawmakers present at the sitting, presided over by the Speaker, Right Honorable Mudashiru Obasa.
Totaling budget size of 4,404,709,776,438 naira for the year ending 31st December 2026 be passed into law. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those against nay. The ayes have it. Mr. Clark, kindly send the approved budget for year 2026 to Mr. Governor for his assent.
Anchored on 4 pillars: poverty eradication, human-centered development, stronger infrastructure, and effective governance. The budget, according to the chairman of the Budget and Economic Planning Committee, Honorable Lukman Olumo, is informed by microeconomic indices, including an exchange rate benchmark of 1,512 naira to the dollar, an inflation rate of 14.7%, oil production of 2.06 million barrels per day, and a benchmark oil price of $64 per barrel.
The deficit financing for year 2026 budget is now reduced to 216,581,000,000, with the sum of 2,160,604,566,113 naira as recurrent. That is 47%, while 53%, 2,337,805,210,335 naira only as capital expenditure for the year ending December 2026.
During deliberations, lawmakers commend the budget, describing it as realistic and growth-oriented, premised on the provisions for personnel costs, overhead, debt servicing, and debt repayment.
When the budget was presented, the budget estimate 2026, some things were missing, but I'm happy today to find those things that were missing in the submission of this report. Number one, the microeconomic indices of the year 2026 budget. While when we look at the exchange rate today, as it is put by this committee in this report, it was put at 1,512 to $1. And as today, it is about 1,424, which means this budget is a realistic budget.
I think they've done the yeoman's job by ensuring that all the possible benefits of the tax reforms that our father, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, has done, will come to bear in this budget, because I noticed that the revenue of the state, internally generated revenue of the state, was appropriately calculated, because I was fortunate to have been in a session with them, and that has improved what LIRS would be able to generate for Lagos State, and that is what I believe has increased the size of this budget.
Recall that Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu had presented a budget of 4.237 trillion naira spending plan to the House on November 25, 2025, saying that the budget is designed to accelerate economic growth, deepen infrastructure development, and maintain fiscal responsibility.
Thank you for staying tuned. We will be discussing the 2026 Lagos State budget, tagged the Budget of Shared Prosperity, recently approved by the Lagos State House of Assembly, and that was what you saw there, the report there. This 4.44 trillion naira appropriation aims to deliver inclusive growth in Africa's largest economy with investments in infrastructure, education, health, economic development, and social welfare. And joining us to unpack its key components, priorities, and implications for Lagos residents, we are joined by Kola Olaiton. He is a chartered accountant, and George Ashiru, a financial management consultant. Thank you for joining us, gentlemen. And it's good to have you again. You were here during the budget presentation. So it's good to also have you here to discuss this now that it has been approved.
At least he will have the opportunity to speak now, because he couldn't go there with us.
It was an interesting live show.
Yeah, interesting one.
Yeah. And Happy New Year to you too.
Thank you.
Happy New Year. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. The Lagos State House of Assembly has approved 4.44 trillion budget for 2026. Now, from a financial standpoint, let me start with you. How significant is this budget size? Because it is a big one.
Actually, when you say financial standpoint, I'll leave that for about chartered accountants.
Okay.
You know, I'm more of a strategic management area of consulting, and it's about how this applies to businesses, how it applies to those of us doing business in Lagos, and how we can take advantage of it in order to improve the economy through economic activities. The increment in the size of the budget for me is never the issue. You can increase it by 50%, 100%. You will always face the fact that migration to Lagos is also increasing. Cost of services is increasing. Inflation keeps going up, sometimes even more than the size of the budget.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, we're more interested in the actual direction of the expenditure. So, for example, what are the indices that determine how government decides what are priorities?
Priorities, yeah.
And just one simple statistic, all that 4.4 trillion is just $125 per person. So imagine if you are traveling out of the country, it doesn't even buy you a ticket.
Exactly.
It's not even enough to buy a ticket to Abuja.
So how is it shared prosperity then?
So you see what I mean? It is when you break it down to the actual expenditure per person that you realize that we are still underperforming. We need to be getting to the point where our average expenditure per person, including of course incomes, is at par with international standards. And I think that is the angle from which I'm going to look at it, by saying it is good that the government is increasing, but because I am looking at the focus of how this impacts the average Lagosian on the basis of the population that is going to keep growing.
Okay.
Is it matching? You know, so the health services, is it about recurrent expenditure, or should we have more theaters, more labs? You know, those are the kind of infrastructures. But you see, we don't have the breakdown of where the actual priorities will be.
Yeah.
Probably each of the various ministries will then explain how this is. But just looking at it at the general point of view, I've brought it down to 180,000 per individual. And I still think that there's a lot to be done.
You'd like to add something to it? Okay, so you've jotted down.
Okay, let me say this. This is assuming that the governor will sign the bill into law. That is, our discussion is based on that.
Okay.
The House of Assembly seems to have done their job.
Done the job.
I can see that the figure has been jacked up a little. I've not really been able to kind of confirm what has happened to the structure in terms of the capital and the revenue side of the of what he presented and what they did at the end of the day. I'm sure his own aides will also take a look at what has been done. The other day we were talking about the issue of padding here, and like I said, I don't agree with the issue of the word padding because not even at the federal level, no one has been so whatever enough to be able to go to court and challenge what the assemblies, including the national one, what they have been doing. I don't always want to reduce figures just as he has done to individuals, because if you do that, then you possibly will. It's like a household of about 6, and you want to divide the salary of the man of the house, or even the husband and wife, to the number of children, the man and whatever. I don't think it goes that way. I think what matters to me was what he mentioned. Let's be able to know the components. What exactly
was adjusted?
Was not just what was adjusted, what was allocated to each of the ministries, and what exactly do they plan to do. But a lot more. One of the assembly members mentioned something there, and which is always a key point for me, because at the end of the day, what we're talking about now is just an estimate. We are only projecting forward. I always want to emphasize that. that, look, what we are looking at is, we have expectation. All these things can become a reality only if what they expect is realized. Yes, it's a deficit budget. They expect to fund it through bonds and loans, part of it. It is expected that what we have planned, we will be able to make the internally generated revenue. Bearing in mind the tax reforms, a lot of the states will probably not get a lot of the things that they used to get before, particularly on the personal income side. How that will impact on their revenue generation is something that we have to kind of watch and see. On the CIT side, as the company income tax side, you possibly will not get anything until much later in the year. For companies that have December year end, they have up till end of June to do their returns, even though they will pay some money. So what I am always very highly interested in are the basis. He mentioned the issue of what exchange rate was applied in terms of what they will get and what they will spend at the end of the day, because you have some foreign components in the expenditure too. So looking at all that, that will determine a lot of things. And it's not just the figure. Even if you have, like he said, even if you have 20 trillion, if the 20 trillion is misapplied or is projected and not realized, you have just wasted your time debating over nothing.
Okay, I like the fact that you talked about padding. There are many Nigerians or residents in Lagos who do not understand, the difference or what happens between presentation of budget by the governor and then to passing it, by the House of Assembly. I'd like George, to take us through the process. What happens? Because someone said that is where they pad. That is where the honorable members pad. They add their own. That why did it go from this to this? There's been an increase. So I'd like you to, take us through the process from presentation to passage.
Let's establish that padding is illegal, it's inappropriate, it's corruption. So that phrase may be used on a generic basis, but it's actually not applied.
You just use it anyhow.
Yes.
And doesn't apply.
There are indices that change in between the period of initial presentation. For example, individual ministries have to prepare their budgets. At the time they present the budget and the time budget is taken to the governor, exchange rates could change. At that same period, if you're using the oil price as a basis, there could be some major international incidences like the one we just saw with Venezuela, that the oil prices skyrocketed a little bit. So some of those things then create an opportunity for the accountant general to start making some rejigging of the figures, not necessarily padding, but realistically looking at the fact that, look, maybe what we initially prepared when we started preparing in September, October, November, by the time we bring it to you, there's been a little bit of a change, and that is what needs to be mentioned. What changed between when it was initially presented. Otherwise, the presumption will be that the State Assembly added an extra 1 and something billion on top to make up for God knows what. And unfortunately, during this process, there's no longer any interaction with the public, where we can ask those kind of questions. You just see that this is what has been passed. So, but I also want to digress from that issue of padding a little bit. I've got this experience. When I was a president of one of the national sports federations, a budget was prepared by the Ministry of Youth and Sports for each of us. But we didn't have an input. It was done purely as a civil service affair. So when the budget was then presented to me to go to the National Assembly to defend, I had to say, how did you come about some of these figures? You didn't ask for the priorities of we, the executives, in terms of where we think money should go, based on what is going to be allocated to us. They say, but we have a template, we just do it every year, we just increase it by 20%. So what we need to worry about is just this idea of, let's just take the figures from the previous year and just increase it by 5%, by 10%. It is when they actually show us ministry by ministry, parastatal by parastatal, what were the issues that led to them coming up with the figures. That's what I believe he's saying about allocation. Give us the basis. What new ideas did you have? What came out of your strategy sessions that made you decide that, for example, in health, we are going to invest a lot in cancer care, and that will need an extra 30 billion. Very simple, and all of us will understand it. And look, there's something going on in Lagos. There's an epidemic of drug abuse by young people, so we want to spend money on this. And these are the reasons why we have increased it, not just 20%, without us knowing whether it's just a down the line 10. So this is why I said, for someone who is in business, you will not know how to prepare your own investment if it's based on the budget without knowing the actual basis for the budget. So if you think, they're going to spend a lot more on health, let me go and start buying more stethoscopes, more this, because government is going to order. And then you realize that actually they want to spend money on HIV, AIDS protection. So these are some of the things I believe that is not really captured most of the time when some of these things are presented to us in the public. It now seems to be just an exercise in presentation for the sake of we have presented it. And then look at last year's budget performance according to the government, averagely 70%, 70 to 80%. So what does that mean? Now, if you have not performed 100% in the previous year, then but you are projecting an extra 30-40% in terms of expenditure and income. What happened to your inability to, to perform the budget the previous year? Are you going to transfer the balance into the new year as an income? So there are lots of other questions that you and I should ask to see whether or not this is actually going to be a workable budget, not just a figure.
Okay. The budget prioritizes infrastructure, education, healthcare, just in general. But again, it is tagged the budget of shared prosperity. Now, from your view, what must happen for prosperity?
We're still projecting.
But you don't have the figures. You don't have it. But again, from your view, what, as someone who stays in Lagos, as a Lagos resident now, what must happen?
50 years in Lagos. So I'm able to call myself a Lagosian. I can easily call myself. I can probably become a mayor of London.
So you're Lagos.
Now, let me please speak to add to what he said, because I agree with him in total. You see, the problem with us in Nigeria is the fact that I'm sorry, with apologies to you, the journalists, and those on the social media in particular. Those are my word, the crazy ones. This issue of padding came up just for people to throw up some things, and I say that with a very serious sense of responsibility. Just like what he said, it may not even be, these people see themselves as representing the people, and what you do is to say, oh sorry, this will happen in Etiosa, this will happen in Agege, and so on and so forth. And when it gets to them, what they do a lot of times is to say, oh sorry, no, it is not time for this, let's do this, this is too much for this, and so on and so forth. And also remember that, look, as soon as the governor presents the budget, what they always want to plead for is for the MDAs to come up to, which was part of what he said that must have happened. It's just that sometimes the work of preparing budgets is a role I have played, not in the public sector anyway.
We even play it at home as well.
Fantastic. So you get there, and by the time the thing gets to them, they have to then determine, as they used to say, representative of the people. But to so many of us out there, we believe the only thing they do is to put constituency projects there, which rewards them. And yes, that is not totally untrue. They do that. We know that very well. But what constitutes padding to a lot of us out there is just a question of moving figures from here to there. That happens even in organizations. Look, the departments prepare their budgets, bring it down, and then at the end of the day, you look at the totality of what is happening. You want to look at the direction that the organization wants to go in the course of the year. What do you want to do, and so on and so forth. You may say, okay, sorry, don't give this to this department, give this to this because of so, like what he said. So I guess that's what we have come to call padding. I have always objected to that word. The only thing we want to ensure that the populace ought to do is to ensure that, look, we do not do babarere babasa to these assembly members any longer. We make sure we dig deep into the figures, and that's exactly, for example, I'm uncomfortable that I'm coming here to speak about the budget without saying the
exactly
breakdown.
because I was going to ask
I was going to say that, look, even during the military days, the thing you have is, as soon as either the governor or the president presents the budget, you have the commissioner of finance coming out to tell us exactly the breakdown, mention the basis for the preparation of the budget, tell us exactly what is going to where, and so on and so forth. And the press will be there to ask questions, detailed questions. I guess that seems not to be happening so much during these civilian days anymore. That is not to say that it is not happening. It's even better now because, look, these days you can now go onto the website of some of the ministries or the Department of Budget and be able to see that is happening at the federal level. You can see that. That's where some people are able to bring out, and all they do is to say, oh, do you know that you are spending so billion on the president in the course of the year, without actually looking at how many departments actually falls under the presidency. They always believe that everything is spent on the bedroom of the president. That is not defending whether that is right or wrong.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying that look, we should look a bit further, not allowing some people to tell us what's happening. And to tell you the level of, yesterday I happened to watch on YouTube a small whatever, and they were discussing, it's a program that a young lady who used to be in one of the TV stations was handling. And look, a crop of young men sat down and were discussing the tax reform. Look, for goodness sake, I shook my head for this country, because it indicates the fact that a lot of our people do not pay attention and they do not really understand. Some of them undergraduates, look, talking about, oh, must I pay tax? Do I do this? Look, what is the law is the law. But don't let me digress too much. But I think you people still have a lot of work to do, hoping that they will do away with their telephone, watching Facebook and so on and so forth. And once in a while, watch TV. Even some grown-up men and women are also guilty of this. The news is not for them. What is news are those things they see. Oh, why do I need to watch news again?
Are those snippets they get from social media?
Exact, social media. And sometimes, a lot of times, not really true. So back to what we are talking about. I guess Lagos State has just been a bit lucky. I remember when the governor was presenting the budget, he said, as at September, they have actually done 81%.
81%
performance. To me, that was a very, very good one.
But how do you judge when you don't have the figures?
No.
How do you judge accurately?
Yes,
when you don't have figures.
No, but but you are also relying on the information passed
on essay, whatever they say to you.
No. The next thing would then be for you to go further and confirm this.
How do you do that?
Look, in most cases, what you expect, and that was what happened the last time when we came in here, when the governor was to present the budget. The very first thing I wanted to do before commenting at all was to listen to the governor reeling out the performance of the budget in the outgoing year before telling us where he's going. Because look, in the course of doing whatever you want to do, you will also still fall back on what happened the previous year. There are some things, some projects you want to do that you are not able to conclude. You probably want to roll it over into the ensuing year. So, and that's what I am talking about. The fact that you have such an information, you could see what people were talking about at the federal level. When the president said something, the minister said something else, and people were querying, which part of it? And it was said that, it was the internally generated whatever that was achieved. So I guess we just need to please every one of us, particularly the young ones. I want to sincerely plead with them. Look, don't just sit back and be hearing, this is what somebody said, and then you start spreading it.
True.
Please pay attention. They are more educated than they are more exposed. They have access to a lot of things. When we were growing up, there was no phone. There were a lot of things were not available. That all you just do is before leaving my house, I can confirm. This is what happens. Look at what was said at the House of Assembly. What was said the previous year. We didn't have such luxury, but now those things are there, and it is my hope that they will pay. Everyone will pay attention to those details, and so that we can challenge those who are governing us a lot more.
Okay. So talking about budget performance here, how do you tell, or what are the indicators, or what are the numbers, or what are the indices you use in identifying whether a budget is performing or is failing?
Of course, it's based on the data released internally.
Okay.
So if you're, just like you said, you do budget at home. So you know your income, and at the end of the month, you are able to say, okay, my household income is 1.5 million. I projected to spend maybe 1.2 million and save 300. And then when I came at the end of the month, I looked and checked and realized that I overperformed, which means my revenues remained consistent, but my expenditure reduced. It's just based on data that is released internally. The problem we have, as you have seen at the national level that was just referred to by Mr. Kola, is the fact that you might also have politically inspired data. You understand? Which is when you don't want to mention the negative side of performance. You want to focus on selling the things that you have achieved, not the losses and wastage. For example, if the U.S. government had decided to withdraw some of the aid that has come through the Donald Trump actually scrapped U.S. aid. And so a certain hundreds of millions of dollars come to Africa and certainly to Nigeria. Now, if you scrap that, when you prepared your budget in the beginning of the year, you didn't anticipate that Donald Trump was going to go rogue. And then he's gone rogue, and that was part of your expected income. So clearly, it's no longer there. But you don't want to embarrass the U.S. government by stating that we didn't make an income because our budget was based on $800 million coming from the U.S. Then that becomes a political decision. The political decision that, look, we're not going to mention this, we're just going to mention that. So these are the reasons you will see these discrepancies between, what really is the actual data that reflects what happened in government and then what is presented. I have had instances of individuals in the political space that have challenged a lot of these figures, and I've asked the governor and the accountant general to explain discrepancies over these past few years. So that shows that some people are paying attention, particularly the professionals, people that count. And we listen, we watch and observe to see whether or not there is actually some major discrepancies. Now, let me add a bit to the question you initially asked about shared prosperity.
You're here to answer that question.
I brought it back to that
very much.
so that Kola will remember to finish it.
Yes.
Why I reduced the budget to per capita is because, again, let me give an example of something that I'm familiar with. Nigeria went to the Olympics in Atlanta 1996. We got 2 gold medals.
2 gold medals, yeah.
And then we spent so much, right? So it was fantastic. Britain got 1 gold medal. Britain got 1 gold medal. 4 years later, Britain gets 11 gold medals, Nigeria got 0. So we analyzed it and said, what did Britain do differently? What did they do? They raised £200 million and invested it. And someone said, let us break it down. How much can Nigeria afford to pay per gold medal? How much can Nigerian government use to compete against the UK? Yeah. So the UK is spending £2 billion per gold medal. Can Nigeria generate £2 billion to get the same gold medal? So that is why sometimes you need to break down certain things to the person. Because that would then tell you, okay, you know what? Just like at home, whatever you do, you're still going to break it down to how much per plate to cook for my family.
Yes.
So I will always say the shared prosperity comes from the ability of government to say, what I earn and what you're earning is the same. Otherwise, what you're going to get is that income per capita is actually not income per capita. It is income per capita for me 1,000%, for you minus 0.1. So I got richer, you go poorer. But because we are using averages, it appears that we are all doing well. So I am looking for a situation where government will learn that this United Nations HDI, Human Development Indices, is based on individuals. It's based on what they think is average. So when they say there is 60% poverty in Lagos, you know, there's poverty level is about 57%. When they say life expectancy in Nigeria is the lowest in Africa, it's based on averages. So the fact that some people are living to 95, 80, forgets that 20 people are dying at 40. So we still need to let this phrase be practical, not just a political statement. Let the person living in Ajegunle have the same opportunity as the person living in Banana Island. Let the price of banana be reflective of the income of the person in Ajegunle. Not use the price that you are selling the banana to sell it in Ajegunle. So these are the ways in which government knows if this prosperity is actually shared, rather than simply saying we are spending more money. We are spending more money, but it's still making some people richer. And the poor still remain poor. And I say this every single year, that until more people are lifted out of poverty, but budget performance is just another data.
It's just figures.
It's just figures.
Okay, you were supposed to.
Yes, no, he said it all. But the only thing is about this issue of comparing. The major problem we have around us is the fact that I always want to look at it from an organization where you have the CEO almost earning possibly the salaries of every other person at the bottom. And that's the way it is. The problem we have is our ability to do what you might call a redistribution of income, such that, look, you say at a point in time, sometimes I don't always want to, so that I don't sound too old. At a point in time, some of us, my first car cost me 4,400 naira. The second one, because of SAP, from 13,500 naira ended up costing, because I was rushing, ended up costing me 28,500 naira. The 28,500 naira wasn't, it cannot even buy you a tube now. So what I'm trying to say is a situation, you have a situation where we have succeeded in wiping out the middle income earners from the system. And if there will be a deliberate action to ensure that at the end of the day, and that's why what I see, even though it will be very difficult, coming with this tax reform act, because a lot of the people at the upper echelon of the what's then called don't pay tax.
The rich people, let's be clear. And they're the ones, and they're the ones crying the most now, you know, about the tax.
The truth of the matter is, as soon as you get to become a rich person, you continue to get rich, except the person becomes stupid. Look, you imagine.
Are you a rich man?
No, definitely. I cannot consider myself as a.
But you both look very rich.
LIRS is watching.
You both look very rich.
I know. So that the guys at the end, the Subaru boys would not come out.
He's a pensioner. We are pensioners
of
now,
course.
so
Okay.
we are good.
So what I'm saying is that if the government can make some deliberate effort, and I'll tell you how I wish a lot of we complain about housing in Lagos. This issue of this train in Lagos is something that I am particularly very happy about, and I wish the thing could continue, such that look, people can live far away and still be able to
Do business in Lagos.
Do business in Lagos without sweating through it.
And we in Lagos, can also just drop our cars most times.
That is it.
Most times, not sometimes, most times, and move around.
Yes. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Some of all this, look, I read an article written very early this morning. It was written, I don't know, on the night by one of the newspapers, and talking about this issue of this road. Okpebi Link, what's the name called? I heard about that from an elderly club member who is late now, a town planner, who told me that, look, Kola, do you know that road ought to have been linked? That some people just made sure it didn't happen because they know what the security, whatever will be. And that's exactly, so when that road was started, I said, oh, Sade, they said so. So what I'm saying, look, this iconic bridge that you have there was referred to. It looks like almost in all the movies that they do in Nigeria, they feature it there. I don't know why Lagos State is not collecting money from them for doing just that. Because for goodness sake, what they are doing is using that
and they are making money.
To make money, exactly. So what I'm saying is redistribution of income, making sure that, look, we are all able to, look, if you and I travel to London or New York, we are so comfortable getting into the buses.
Of course.
I have come across a lot of Nigerians who probably will just drive past me, boom. Or when we get to the airport, what do? You see about 5 or 6 people entering the airport with them, whereas I'm struggling to enter. But they carry their bags themselves. So what I'm trying to say is, that's the kind of a thing I want to see as a shared prosperity. Situation where you and I can live comfortably together. Not the part of it also is the withdrawal of policemen from some guys who borders out on the road. To me, these are some of the gentle reforms that we want to have, such that we all can benefit from the resources of the land. It's a bit. The economists will always say ceteris paribus, all things being equal, but it can never be equal. Even in those countries that we talked about, some of the things I have read today points to the fact that, look, this mismatch or whatever, it may not be on a larger scale. It's there in the UK, it's there in the US. But what we want to try and do here is to make sure we minimize it. For me, look, people talk about Banana Island. I never dream I don't pray to go there. I don't ever pray
go
to
there or live there.
Live there ever.
Okay.
No. Well, anyway, how many years do I have left? Look, how I wish Ogun State was a bit more sensible in the past to make sure that what has now been turned into a slum, Ibafo, Mawe and Co, were made a housing estate like Lekki is. And look, for goodness sake, they would have been benefiting from it. When no peak started, that was what I was saying. That look, for goodness sake, what did they do? They just allocated the land without bothering. That's where Lagos State is a lot better than them. They just allocated the land, made money out of it, and possibly still making money, and not bothering what will happen in 20 years' time, in 30 years' time. But they are there with the problem, and that's what is creating problem there on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway because you don't have any other service lane. No service lane, no other entry into Lagos other than that express. So everybody living at Mowe, Redemption City, Ibafo, and others rely on that just Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. And as soon as there's a breakdown there, the people get stopped. Those are the things I want to see. And as soon as that happens, for goodness sake, we will be better for it. That is my own definition of shared prosperity. You see, we can give so many definitions to it. That's not to say that he's wrong. Definitely not.
You have just summed it. You've just summed it up. Now I understand what shared prosperity is all about. Thank you very much, Kola Olaiton, Chartered Accountant, George Ashiru, Financial Management Consultant. We've been discussing Lagos Assembly the past its 2026 budget just last week, Thursday. The budget is not just about figures. It is about, a proposal. It is the way the government intends to run the lives of its people. We're going to short break. When we come back, the conversation continues.